Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis. Although most of the cars I source are between £1,000 and £5,000, very often I've been asked to show something a little bit cheaper on the channel, and so I came up with No Budget Reviews, the series where we look at cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and you can enjoy driving. We don't film this in an expensive manner, we don't use separate microphones, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't even use a DSLR, but we do have a lot of fun. Sometimes, viewers, I get to review quite unusual cars on the channel, and this is no exception. It's a 1993 Daihatsu Charade G100. This was also known as the G101, G102 or G103. I've absolutely no idea what the difference between these models is, but all I know is that there's hardly any of these actually left. There just aren't any left that I've seen. I haven't seen one in about 20 years. This is quite near the end of production for the G100 series. It was replaced with the next model in early 1994, I think. Let's take a look in the boot. Just like a lot of Japanese and other racing cars of the era, you use the key to get in like that. There we go. Suppose like a Metro as well. That fits a baby buggy in there, no problem. The boot doesn't look particularly big. I imagine it's under 200 litres. Like the fire-breathing GTTI, which was an amazing variant of this car, the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo with 99 horsepower. This 1.3 GXi model has this little reflective strip on the back, which is nice. Fuel for the flat release just there. A tiny little key, very typical of the era. I think Kia Prides and things had keys like that too. It's actually got central locking, this car, and electric windows and electric mirrors and all kinds of exciting things because it's the GXi. Let's see if I can actually get into back. This car is actually in daily use at the moment, which is why there's a child seat in it. It's owned by Gavin, who's Proton. You might have seen him on the channel as well. Yeah, there's not a lot of room in here, viewers, but it is a very small car, so you'd expect that, really. Last tray, I don't know what you put there, maybe, I don't know, a mini pork pie. Pop-up sunroof. This car's actually had a lot of welding done on it. When Gavin got it, the floor pan was partially missing, but it's all fine now. We've got a nice valid MOT. I'll just get in the front. Look at all this luxury. Look at all those electric window switches, viewers. Marvellous. A nice comprehensive rev counter as well. Apparently this car revs to 9,000 RPM. What happens if you go over that? I don't know. I'll leave that to your imagination. Got one of these tiny little stubby hazard light switches. Fog lamp switch, indicators and lights on the right, as is typical for a Japanese car of this era. And that is the rear heated window switch. Why do you need to make it like that? It's really weird. And that, I think, is the rear wiper, which you push in. There we go. Wipers on the left, no airbags or anything like that at this time. Original Clarion stereo unit. In other markets like Indonesia, you'd probably have air conditioning there. Glove box, I don't think my secret mission documents are going in there, unfortunately. But I could put them in the door pockets. And we've got very large door pockets either side, viewers, which is nice. Corn holder there, normal handbrake, and a 5-speed gearbox. Some of the G100 Charades had 4-speed gearboxes. There was an automatic available as well. This is a facelifted car, although I don't really know what differences between this and a pre-facelift are. It's not a lot, really. That came in at about 89. Let's have a look at the engine, shall we? Oh, that's how you know what model Charade you've got. There we go, it's a Charade G102. Excellent. Yes, so I shall title this video G100 stroke G102, because apparently this is a G102. As Daihatsu very helpfully told you, you need to replace the timing belt every 60,000 miles. And indeed, it was done this year. Fantastic. Nice and low mileage as well. This car's, I think, done 56,000 miles. They're very reliable engines, these, as long as you look after them, but just like a lot of Japanese engines of this era and many other engines, you know, Renaults and Rovers, they do suffer from oil leaks, but a minor, but you know, it's not such much of a problem, I suppose. But yes, I just haven't seen one of these for a long time. They were very insistent that you knew it was a 16 valve engine with electronic fuel injection. Right, I suppose the next thing to do is to get this out on the road. Right, viewers, time to take a trip out in the G102 Charade. This engine is a 1.3. It came in quite late on in the G100's life, about 1991 I think, actually, with electronic fuel injection. It develops about 90 horsepower, which makes this car quite fast. I think it does 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds. Other flavours of a fast G100 Charade were the 1 litre turbo, not the GTTI, the 1 litre turbo. That had 68 horsepower. It was an engine from the previous generation Charade that was carried over, for some reason in parallel with the GTTI. Now that was an absolute stormer, 99 horsepower in a tiny little car with a capacity of less than a litre. These days that's pretty normal, but you know, in 87 when these cars came out, that was extraordinary. The trim levels available for the G100 Charade, I mean, you know, G101, G102, G103, this is a 102, were CS, CX, CXi, GXi, like this one, GTTI, and then of course, I think this is called the turbo, the one with the less powerful engine. Other engines available were a 1 litre with, I think, 50 horsepower. There was also a down-tuned engine of it, I think it was with a car with 75 horsepower. And then, yes, the exciting turbo models. Gearbox is quite a long throw, but it feels nice and positive. The ride's quite firm. It's traditionally kind of Japanese car at this time, where you know the rides of most of the cars, and that goes even for the N13 Nissan Sunny, were a little bit firmer. And of course, my camera's shaking around like mad. Mind you, it wouldn't be no budget reviews if that wasn't happening, would it? Gavin told me before I drove this car that the brakes were a bit scary, because you press your foot on the pedal and then nothing happens, and then suddenly at the bottom they suddenly bite in. I mean, that's fine, but yeah, it takes a while to get used to, shall we say, viewers. Yes, viewers, I'm afraid there's a bit of a scratch on the windscreen, and my mount's in the way, but that's just the way that it goes on no budget reviews. This car had a lot of random names around the world. It was produced in Japan from 86 to 94, China from 1988 till 2012. Taiwan from 89 to 96. Indonesia from 87 to 98. And it was called things like the Daihatsu Charade Social, the Daihatsu Classy in Indonesia with the saloon version that was also sold. There were 3 doors and saloons also available, but the saloon was available in this country. The Daihatsu Winner, yes. The Daihatsu Social and the Charade, I don't know how to say that properly. Yeah, crazy. Visibility in this car is really, really good. I like the visibility in this one. A little bit on the bumpy side. The seats aren't the most supportive I've ever driven. And there's no steering column adjustment, so if you're tall, it's probably not necessarily the car for you. But I'm enjoying it anyway. But you know, I'd enjoy the GTTI even more. I only covered in this review the engines and trim options for the UK market. I mean, we covered some other names, but that's, you know, not really the same. Let's just nip into this passing place to let this Audi go past. There we go. Second Audi we've met today. Yeah, it feels very, very responsive. Yes. You want to rev all the way around to 9,000, don't you? You little kind of bouncy, little energetic car. It's like driving around in a car. It's a little bit like a terrier. It just wants to go. You can feel it's very eager and it's wagging its little tail. It just wants to be bounding around little country lanes like this. Oh, yes. Superb. Right, anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back and try to draw some conclusions about this extraordinary little charade. So viewers, the G100 Daihatsu Charade, in this case the G102 Daihatsu Charade, is this a car that you should consider with your hard-earned budget of up to £1,000? Well, I mean, the main problem with one of these is actually finding one. I think there's been 2 on the internet for sale in the time that Gavin's owned this car. So that's probably your biggest problem. The engineering of this car looks quite solid and quite simple. Obviously rust is the worst problem, like it is for a lot of cars of this era, not just for Japanese ones. I mean, like virtually all of them. And you know, I don't know how you find certain bits. That might be a bit challenging, but I've had a lot of fun with this little car. The brakes are a bit terrifying. I don't know if it's just this particular car or if you know, they're all like this, but nevertheless it was a little bit shall we say, exciting. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more of the same and many other types of video. Please don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below. And yes, if you could switch notifications on, that'd be super. Thank you.